Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Lauren. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 girls, and today I want to share how we can make math fun. Today's video is part of an open collaboration, and it is hosted by Jessica at the Waldock Way and Abby from Rooted in Rest. And we are talking all things math, specifically how to make it more fun. So I will talk about curriculum and games or apps and things like that. But first, I want to bring it into real life because that is honestly what we're preparing our children for, is to live day-to-day life. So I want to point out a few examples of how we can incorporate math into everyday life without your children even really realizing it. I have my little notes here. So in my Mom Boss notebook, I got this a few years ago and I thought it was really cute. So this has some of my notes in it. Anyway, first is just bringing it into real life. You have this stereotypical example of baking. I feel like we've heard that a million times. Have them bake. I'm sure it's in a lot of our curriculum to make or bake something. Totally true. Have them bake something. But you can also take it a step up. If they are an older child, have them budget out groceries for the month. So older kids can maybe budget that. If you have younger kids, maybe you do a poetry tea time. You could take them to the store, say, here's $5 or $10. We're gonna get that much worth of snacks. We have to figure out how we can budget our designated amount in order to fit that, to make sure we have enough snacks for everybody and we're not going too much over, but we're not getting not enough snacks. They could also help you in the grocery store as far as our budget today is $200 and we have to make sure we're not going to be going over that, which is very easy to do. If you are doing a house project or a house like remodeling, renovation type thing, get them involved to an extent, right? Say, we need this much carpet and you help me figure out how much the square footage is and how much it's going to cost and all of those things, because those are real life things. Those are things that we are dealing with as people who live in homes and have ever done any type of remodeling. Maybe we have to paint. We got to figure out how much paint we need, things like that. Day-to-day life things. Maybe you or your husband likes woodworking and is building like a table or something like that. I've seen a lot of times how moms are, yeah, my husband helped build these desks for our schoolroom. Have them be involved. I'm sure maybe you've done them too, but I've most of the time seen it's the husband doing it. Maybe, they are having to measure and cut and figure out how it's going to fit. All of those things require math. We use math so much on a daily basis that we don't even think about it. And that is just so much more practical to have the children involved that way. If you're going on a vacation, have them, to the best of their abilities, pack their clothes. You may have to repack and that's okay, but having the child say, okay, we're going to be gone this many days. You need this many outfits, this much socks, blah, blah, blah. Here's your suitcase. You have to get it in there and it has to fit. Doing that exercise is like a spatial reasoning exercise. They don't even realize it. That is all math. Math is not just 3 + 3 = 6 and addition facts. Math is logic. It's critical thinking. It is spatial reasoning. It is all these things incorporated together. While we're speaking of travel, maybe they are going to help you budget for expenses, for hotels. Maybe you could say, okay, we're going on a driving trip and we have to drive. You have to figure out, we've got to be here on this day and here on this day. How many miles do we need to get there? How many hours a day do we need to be driving? Have them involved in all of those different aspects of planning your travels. It could even also be things like sports. If they're into sports, have them look into sports stats and even little things, like the littlest things. When my husband is watching the game, they see the score, oh, so-and-so is in the lead. And you say, well, how many points are they winning by? Little things like that. It does not have to be completely complicated and you're using so much brain energy to figure out, how can I make math fun? Like, it isn't right in front of us all the time. I'm sure there are hundreds of more real life examples. These are just a few that I thought of like off the top of my head, how you could incorporate math into these different real life examples. If you have more, that you do that works for you and your kids, please let me know. Leave a comment down below so that other people who see this video and are reading the comments are going to be able to read those and get some other ideas for them and for their children too. Another thing I do want to say before I kind of talk about like the day-to-day things of it, of like games and apps and curriculum and all that, is just a few tips to keep in mind. First, if they are getting burned out by something, take a step back. I was doing a multiplication, like it was 100 days of multiplication book with my daughter. Actually, let me grab it. Okay, back. So this has been sitting in my cabinet for several weeks now. So we started this, she was in 3rd grade last year learning multiplication tables, and I incorporated this to just help her get more fluent with it and a little bit quicker. So she did these like the last half of 3rd grade. We took a break over the summer and then she started them again in 4th grade. She was getting very frustrated because her scores or her times from last year, even though she was getting everything right, her times weren't as quick. And I kept telling her, you had to take a break over the summer because you didn't want to do this over the summer. And so that's what happened. Like, you will catch up. So we don't have to time you. No, of course we have to time. It says time test. We can't not time me. And I was like, okay. So it was kind of a battle. She was getting frustrated, and I don't want it to be in any subject, but particularly math, a point of frustration where they're hating it, because anytime you get to that point, it's just never a good thing. So this is not her main math at any point. She's already doing a math. She's doing a supplemental math. This was like a 3rd thing. She was getting burned out of it. So I put this on the back burner. Will we come back to this? We will. Just because you put something aside doesn't mean you will never come back to it. If it's going to be a good thing and working, and it did work at some point, you can always come back to it. But if it's not working in the season of life that you're in or at the time, take a step back and let's reconfigure. So her math that she's doing, her main math, has games incorporated that she normally did not do, multiplication and division games that she was not doing. She was doing these instead. So when we put these back, our compromise was, well, you still have to do multiplication and division practice. You don't just get to not do that anymore. So our compromise was that she was going to be doing her the games that came with her math curriculum. She was going to be doing those every time they required a game, and then we didn't do that, and she's much happier with it right now. So take a step back. Don't force it. If it's causing stress, tears, anxiety, please, there's so many resources out there today. We have endless opportunities to figure something out that's going to work for our kids. This isn't 20 or 30 years ago where we had like 4 options. The next one is for you. If you're a mom, a dad, grandmother, whoever homeschools, whoever is mainly in charge of homeschooling, please, if you do not like math and you are not great at it, don't bring that up to your child. They will take that attitude and belief and put it on themselves. They will say, oh, they really pick up even more than we realize. So even if you're like, well, I don't say it in front of them, I may talk about it to my spouse or to another mom on a play date. If they're within earshot, you can pretty much guarantee they are hearing that and picking up on it. I get it. A lot of people don't like math, totally. I totally understand. You don't have to like math. You don't have to love it. But we can control our attitudes, and we can control how we express our feelings and what we're saying about it. We can control that. We may not be able to control if we like math, but those are things that we can. And having a positive attitude and being encouraging and looking at it like something that's fun that we get to do, changing the mindset, changing the mentality will go a long way, and it will effectively rub off on your child. They may not love math. It may not be their favorite subject. They may still struggle. I'm not saying it's going to be a miracle and that they're going to just magically love math and become amazing at it. It may still be, but I guarantee there will be a little bit of a difference if you have that great attitude. Now, if you're like, well, I've already done that. I've already said I don't like math, or my children already know that. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up, but it's not too late to still turn your attitude around and still change your mentality of having it being in a positive mindset. It's not too late. So that is just an encouragement for whoever is teaching math. Stay positive. Next will probably be obvious, but I need to put it out there as well. Find a fun math curriculum. That's pretty much it. Find a fun one. There are so many out there nowadays. Again, this is not 20, 30 years ago where you had about 3 options to choose from. And if you didn't like it, too bad. You didn't have internet, you didn't have apps or games or anything like that. You just had to make do. We can have so many resources. So find a few ones. There's so many out there, but I'll just name a few. First is Beast Academy. They do have an online option, but they do have a book option as well. And it's very advanced math, and it uses a lot of logic. So if you have a very logic, math-minded child, I've heard great things about Beast Academy. We haven't tried it, but I know I've heard a lot of great things about it. So it is like a graphic novel, comic book type of a math approach is how they teach it, from these little like cartoon beast type things. It's not scary. Again, a lot of people like it and it's pretty fun. So next is Masterbooks. A lot of people like Masterbooks because it is a Charlotte Mason approach, and it centers around these little twins, Charlotte and Charlie, and their life and how they so it brings stories into it. Masterbooks is more of a gentler approach, and it's probably a half a grade level to a full grade level behind like public school. So if you do consider Masterbooks, just look into that. Another one is Easy Peasy. It is an online math program. It is completely free, which is amazing. And it has different links to like different math games and math practices, so that you will be able to, even if you don't use Easy Peasy for an entire curriculum, you could definitely use it as a supplement because it links to just so many different online math games, and they're all free. Again, this is a free resource. Next one is Khan Academy. This is another online. We used it for a little bit last year as like a supplemental math. My girls like it, but I think we kind of just forgot about it, honestly. So you can use Khan Academy. Again, it's free and has like a main math or a supplemental math as well. So there's but I mean, I'm not even hitting all of the fun maths out there. These are just a few. And then, ours. We love the Good and the Beautiful math. My girls think it's really fun. They love math. All 3 of them. Math is their favorite subject. I never ever have a hard time when it comes to math. They always want to do it and are eager to do their lessons. And I really do attribute it to the Good and the Beautiful math. So that is another math. I almost forgot that one. Next is if you are not, if you're like, no, I don't want a whole entire online math thing. That's just not for me. It could be that you're just fine with a math app that they can play for just a few minutes every day or every few days. There's many math apps out there. I know that there is abcmouse.com. My girls, sorry, I heard I don't know, something out there. abcmouse.com, we have a subscription for that. My daughters all love to play it. And I think if they're above like 2nd or 3rd grade, I think it's called Adventure Academy. That is the ABC Mouse for higher kids, for older children who are in the higher levels. They also have Leapfrog. Leapfrog has so many different like little tablet type things. We have a few different types, and so you can get games that go along with them, and they don't even realize they're doing math. They just think they're playing a game and having fun. And I remember as a kid when we got out our floppy disk, yeah, that's how old I am, got out the floppy disk, put the game in, and I would play computer math games for hours, and it was so much fun. So I remember that fondly as a child. So educational math games are amazing. A few more, there's so many out there. Math Playground is a free resource. It looked really cute. It's like math games that you can play online, and then IXL.com. This one is really cool because you can choose, obviously you can choose what grade level you're on, but you can choose which area like you want to focus on. So if your child needs just a little bit more help in a specific area, you can go down that, there's an entire list, and you can click on that and they will give the child exercises on how to, it's just a focus on that area. So it's not just all consuming. We're all talking about all the different things of second grade math. It's this focused area. Then lastly is just games, real games, old-fashioned games that are in your hands. And I will show you some of our games right now. So here's just a quick example of some games that you could do. This I printed out, I don't know, maybe on like Teachers Pay Teachers or something like that. It was for free. This is just an example. I laminated it, and then I give my daughter googly eyes to put on the aliens, and she's probably even too old for this now. She just turned 5. But another thing you could do is, instead of googly eyes, you could take little pom-poms and have them take a clothespin, and that would help with like fine motor skills and put them on the little spaces. I got this several years ago at the Dollar Spot. It's the back of, it came with magnetic numbers, and we just put it so you match up the numbers on the back. This one is another Dollar Spot find from several years ago. This is like a self-correcting puzzle, so they have to match up the number, to the number of items to the actual number, and then on the back there is the number of dots, so you could do it either way. And it is numbers 1 to 14, I believe. Here, now this doesn't look like math, but it really is. Again, math is not just blank plus blank equals this, and number recognition math is all these different components. So this is just going to help figure out like, okay, what, if I twist this around, how will this be able to fit? And just bringing in that logic and critical thinking. This is just, I just grabbed 2 games real quick. This is Greedy Granny. It's like Old Maid. This is Phase 10. Obviously, this is for a little bit of an older child. Oh, man. Can I tell you how many hundreds of times I've played Phase 10? This is a really good one for older kids. I actually still love playing Phase 10 now. This Tangram, this is just like a Melissa and Doug. It's double-sided. There's probably like 10 puzzles on here, but just having to figure out what goes where. This is really, really good for like the logic end of it. All right, and then this we just got, my mom just grabbed this for my daughter we just got it recently. And it is, so what it is, there's like 60 different solutions, I think. So here's the first one. You or the child would put it together exactly like this, and then they're gonna give you the missing pieces, and you have to see what is missing and figure it out. And then I think it gets like progressively a little bit harder. Again, so there's like 60 puzzles, and then it shows at the back the solution. So I think that that's really fun too. It's kind of like a twist on the Tangram game as well. Good old dominoes that could be used for so many different items. Old-fashioned abacus. It does not get more old school than an abacus. There's just it's so simple, but there's so many things it can do. And then Mancala, this is another good one. I mean, checkers, chess, those are honestly all really great for math skills as well. It's all developing that part of the brain. So Mancala, me and Larissa like to play this one as well. So again, this is not all-inclusive by any stretch of the imagination. This isn't even everything we have, but again, it doesn't have to be just flashcards, and I mean, you can do flashcards, but it doesn't have to be traditional math games like you're thinking. It can just be any number of these. Thanks for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe if you want to stick around, and leave a comment for any feedback or any other ways that you make math fun. Make sure to check out the playlist down below. Until next time, I'll see you later.